Welcome to the bidder conference for the Willow Bank Landscaping Project, presented by Keely Hansen for St. Mary's University of Minnesota, PRM 615 Procurement Management. In today's conference, we'll be talking about the request for proposal and statement of work. In the request for a proposal, we'll be covering the proposal guidelines, project scope, request for proposal timeline, budget, bidder qualifications, and evaluation criteria. In the statement of work, we'll cover the work requirements, project timeline, schedule milestones, and acceptance criteria. First, we'll discuss the request for a proposal. Each vendor company responding to the request for proposal shall include a transmittal letter, executive summary, management section, technical section, and cost section in their proposal. The transmittal letter shall be 1 page in length and located on the first page of the proposal. It includes the organization's name, address, contact details, purpose, and signature by someone able to commit to the contract. The executive summary shall cover the project at a high level, including key points of the proposal, such as the project's objective, scope, approach, and outcomes. The management, technical, and cost section shall not exceed 4 pages in length each and are written in APA format. The management section demonstrates the organization's ability to manage and coordinate the project effectively. It shall describe the organization's management approach, including an organizational chart, ROSI chart, project team, qualifications, experience, roles, and responsibilities. Bidder qualifications are included in this section. The technical section provides a detailed description of how the vendor company responding to the RFP will complete the requirements listed in a statement of work. Each shall statement requirement in the statement of work is addressed in this section. The shall statements are listed in a sub-bullet created to describe how the vendor meets each of their requirements. The cost section is a comprehensive breakdown of all costs associated with the landscaping company. A Microsoft project file that details the project schedule, materials, labor, costs shall all be included as an attachment to the proposal as a basis estimate tool. The cost data from the Microsoft project file shall be transferred into an Excel file table and provided in the cost section. This section includes clarification on cost calculation and justification as needed. The project scope is to create an aesthetically appealing and functional outdoor space along the east side of the Willow Bank Winona building. The project scope includes debris removal and cleanup, hardscape installation, softscape installation, irrigation and drainage system, and landscape maintenance plan. The scope also includes vendor project management, risk management, cost, schedule management, resource management, and labor and materials needed to complete the landscaping project. The request for proposal timeline provides an overview of the request for proposal process and project milestones. The project proposal deadline is July 7th, 2023. The project time period is between July 30th and August 25th of 2023, as specified in the statement of work. The budget reinforces the pricing information requested in the cost section. The vendors shall outline their approach to pricing, including methodologies, industry standards, or pricing models used in the estimation process. Vendors shall list pricing information in an Excel table format within the proposal. The Excel table shall be used in the evaluation criteria to compare vendors for selection. The Excel should clearly show how the breakdown of costs is completed. Each line item or task shall be listed in its associated costs. Line item costs may include labor, materials, equipment, or any other related expenses. Vendors shall attach a Microsoft project file to the proposal submission. The Microsoft project file shall be used as a basis for estimate tool. Vendors shall ensure the file accurately reflects the project scope and deliverables listed in the documents provided. The schedule shall include all project tasks, durations, resources, dependencies, and milestones. The bidder qualifications shall be used in the decision-making process to evaluate and select the vendor for the landscaping project. This section aims to gather all relevant information about the bidder's company to assess their qualifications, experience, and capability to complete the project. This section shall include the company history, executive background, company size, organizational structure, project experience in the field, certifications, quality assurance process, environmental sustainability certifications, safety measures, and financial information related to past work, references, and portfolio items. Vendor proposals shall be evaluated by the vendor selection committee based on the vendor's proposal, including cost, technical, and management sections. The vendor selection committee scores each vendor with a number of points from each category. The cost section has a total of 50 points, the technical section has a total of 30 points, and the management section a total of 20 points. In the cost section, the vendor's provided Microsoft project file and Excel cost files are graded to show the vendor's ability to provide the landscaping services at a low cost that does not compromise the quality. In the technical section, the vendor's technical section is graded against the statement of work to see if the vendor's techniques, methodology, and best practices align with the Willow Bank. The vendor must demonstrate an understanding of the project requirements, scope, and objectives, as well as consideration of environmental sustainability practices. In the management section, the vendor is evaluated on the company's demonstrated ability to manage and coordinate the project effectively. Next, we'll cover the statement of work. The work requirements include the 7 project milestones with the 20 total tasks or shall statements and the vendor project management. First, we have debris removal. The vendor shall clear the site of all flooding debris, including existing vegetation, trash, or obstacles, and properly dispose of it. Second is site preparation. The vendor shall prepare the soil for the landscaping and follow the proper grading and leveling for drainage per the landscape design. The vendor shall add soil as needed due to flood washing. Third is hardscaping. The vendor shall install hardscape features including pathway, retaining wall, and any other items according to the landscaping design. The vendor shall include proper alignment, stability, and structural integrity of the hardscape features. Fourth is softscaping. The vendor shall select and procure appropriate plants, trees, shrubs, flowers, or other vegetation based on the landscape design. Flexibility is allowed in the landscape plan on plant types considering the climate and soil conditions. The vendor shall prepare soil for planting, including adding fertilizer as needed. The vendor shall install plants, vegetation, following the proper planting techniques for the specific plant type. The vendor shall add mulch, rock, or other ground cover after planting. The fifth is install irrigation and drainage system. The vendor shall install an efficient irrigation system with consideration to the vegetation needs. The vendor shall install sprinklers, drip lines, valves, controllers, timers, and any other necessary components. The vendor shall install underground tilling as used for drainage areas. The sixth is site cleanup. The vendor shall remove any construction debris, material, equipment, and other vendor property from the site location. The vendor shall clean the landscaping area to present a finished and clean landscape. The vendor shall perform a final inspection for quality. The seventh is documentation and training / handover. The vendor shall prepare and provide the Willow Bank ground supervisor with all necessary documentation, including the maintenance guidelines and warranty information as needed. The vendor shall conduct a final walkthrough with the project manager to review the completed work and address questions or concerns. Finally, the project management section. The vendor shall have a designated project manager. The vendor shall provide a project communications plan, project schedule, project milestones, risk management plan, quality assurance measures, project team structure, project change management process understanding, project closure documents, and transition documentation. The vendor shall provide documentation on the health and safety requirements of their workers, as well as training documentation or qualifications. The project timeline. The project's period of performance is July 30th through August 5th. Due dates of each milestone is subject to change to the change process as project managers work closely together throughout the project. The acceptance criteria of each milestone and its deliverables are to be agreed upon by the vendor project manager and the Willow Bank project manager. The designated alternative to the Willow Bank project manager is the Willow Bank branch CEO. Any deviations from the plan shall go through the change management process. The definition of acceptance is that the deliverable is completed, functional, and satisfactory. The acceptance process is as follows. The vendor notifies the project manager deliverables for the milestone are complete. Then the vendor submits a formal request for acceptance review. The project manager will then conduct an inspection with the vendor project manager. The project manager addresses any concerns, deficiencies, and deviations. Finally, the project manager provides written acceptance of deliverables. That concludes my presentation. However, I'd like to quickly summarize the main points that this bidder conference for the Willow Bank of Winona's landscaping project has covered. The request for proposal guidelines covered the 5 proposal requirements, including the transmittal letter, executive summary, management, technical, and cost sections. The project scope was outlined, as well as a request for proposal timeline. The key dates to take away are the project proposal deadline of July 7th, the proposal evaluation and vendor selection of July 4th, and for the awarded vendor, the contract negotiation and award on July 21st. The budget requirements of an Excel file and Microsoft project file have been outlined. The bidder qualification section covers the required information for each vendor to provide for the decision-making process. Finally, the evaluation criteria and points that each vendor is scored on in the decision-making process of the vendor selection committee. The statement of work explains the expectations and requirements for the Willow Bank landscaping project in detail. The 20 work requirements are broken down and the milestones for the project are outlined. The project's period of performance is July 30th through August 25th, and the acceptance criteria process has been outlined. Thank you. I sincerely appreciate your time and attention today. If anyone would like more information or ask questions, please feel free to contact me on the email below.